So we're going to go on forward and we are going to talk about public image next. Last night, I know I talked about having Patrick Harrison, the Rotary Public Image Coordinator, online here to be able to present this to us. He's had something come up. So he has found a great replacement. And she is a favorite fellow Rotarian of mine from my very own district of District 6000, but she is recently new to his team. And so I'm going to have Heidi Drager kick it off for us tonight and talk about some public image for a bit.
Well, thank you. So as Gretchen said, Patrick was supposed to be here. So you guys are my test subjects for presenting on this subject since I just joined the team. So hopefully I do Patrick's material justice. If you have unanswered questions at the end, we will find the answers for you and get you the resources that you need. So please bear with me. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. One of the important things about public image is that it is our philosophy in this region that public image has a touch on every component. It is a part of everything. And we want to really drive that across and get that message across to everybody. So, like I said, public image is everything. It is the perception or opinion that the general public holds about a person, organization, product, or a brand. So replace all of those with Rotary. We're talking about what the outside world thinks about Rotary. We're talking about what your membership thinks about Rotary, about your club, about your service projects, about the things that you do. So that is what public image is, and that's what we're talking about. This is a picture of our public image team. And for some reason, they chose to stick me right in the middle because that's where there was open space, I think. So we have a great team from across the region. They are phenomenal people that have a vast number of talents that they would be happy to help you with. And we'll run through some of those in a little bit. And all of this information is on the zone website, which I will also show you in a little bit. But again, public image is everything. It is about the involvement that your club has in your community, what the community sees about you. Do you have those drive safely signs by the schools that have, hopefully, as Andrea said, properly Rotary branded and have the right logo? Do people see that and wonder, what is Rotary? Do they see a news segment that talks about the Rotary Club chicken dinner, and they don't necessarily know what that means if you just say Rotary or if you just talk about chicken. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what the why is behind that stuff as well. So your public image is about what your club feels like when people come to visit. That's your members, that is your speakers, that is any special guest that might pop in. One of the things I do, I travel a lot and I go visit Rotary clubs when I'm traveling, and it's a different experience depending on where you go. And you might find that they roll out the red carpet for a visitor, or does your club, if a visitor comes and sits in that chair that Bob always sits in, is that person going to feel like they're out of place and unwelcome? So think about that kind of stuff. And even, visit your club from the perspective of a visitor. I owned a business. We used to consider, like, as we walked into the front door, what is somebody else seeing? So every time you walk into your club or sit down at the table or you're watching the speaker, just think about what anybody else is experiencing at that same time that you might just not necessarily be paying attention to anymore because you've been a member for so long. Again, public image is about your fundraisers, and it's about location, food, and speakers. So the three very difficult things, or not, shouldn't say very difficult, one of the challenges that most clubs have include these three things: location, food, and speakers. So think about where you're at, where you're meeting, what the food's like, and what your programs are. So are your meetings easy to get to? Is the food worth the price that people are paying, or do people not want to pay for food anymore? Sometimes some clubs are doing that these days. And are your programs entertaining, informative, and bringing value to your members' time. And then, of course, public image is your online presence or your visual identity, your social media, your website, everything that people see. If somebody is trying to learn about your club or what is Rotary, they Google what is Rotary in your hometown. What is your website going to look like when they get there? Is it going to be current? Is it going to be currently branded? Is it going to have a news story from something 6 years ago or something that happened last month or an event that's coming up? Or is it going to be outdated? So think about those things when you're looking at all of these aspects of your club. And I heard Andrea say, make sure that you have chairs and people to handle all of these things. So have somebody in your club that is responsible for being your public image chair so that they can oversee this stuff and worry about it so you don't have to. The secret sauce, as we say in our public image team, for secret sauce for your public image team for your meetings is going to be inspiration, connection, value everybody's time, and be intentional. Equal parts of all of those things, and you will set yourself up to have great club meetings, have a great event, have great experiences for anybody that you interact with in the name of your Rotary Club. And it is not just the what we do, it is the why we do it. This is talking about telling our Rotary story, learning how to express what Rotary does for us personally, for our community, for the world. So I'm going to run through a couple of examples. So we all know about the Rotary Club chicken dinner or spaghetti dinner, or fill in whatever fundraiser your club might do. That's a what you're doing. You're making spaghetti, and there's some cool things that happen with that. But the why behind that is not about the spaghetti. It's not your community super into eating pasta together. It's because you want to raise money to create a playground for an underprivileged neighborhood, or whatever that is, or put playground equipment in the women's shelter that accepts families with or women with children, something like that, and tell your stories framed around the why you're doing the fundraiser, and you will get a lot more traction and interest in those. Have some talking points about Rotary. One of the things you're going to want to figure out is how to tell your club story and tell people why they want to be about a part of Rotary. And we're a part of a really, really cool club. We're kind of the cool kid club, because Rotary has done a lot of amazing things. Rotary is an amazing organization. It is the #1 service organization on the planet. It was a part of chartering the United Nations. We're very close to eradicating polio. Sometimes we need to remind folks of how important that is and why that is still relevant, but it is still relevant. It's important, and we need to keep talking about it and show people what a cool thing Rotary was a part of to get us to the point that we're at. We have 1.2 million members in over 200 countries. I didn't make that slide. And relationships that get things done from the ground up. And then something we like to remind people is that, Rotary is non-political, non-religious. We have turbulent times. We have a lot going on in our world that we just want to make sure that everybody understands that within our clubs and within Rotary, it's a safe place, that it's non-political, non-religious, and welcoming to all. And we have meetings that allow innovators to connect, get work done, be accountable, and be guided by the 4-way test. And then, of course, the charity navigator for the foundation, which Rotary Foundation is an integral part of what helps us get stuff done within Rotary. And the Rotary Foundation's mission is to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace. So that's a really quick run through of some talking points that you could use to talk about what Rotary is, because you will find, and I'm sure you have found, that you run across people, you're talking about, oh, I'm going to be club president and I don't, I'm really nervous about it. And, you have friends that don't even know what that means, or, or is that, yeah. So it's really nice to be able to give them something to talk about. Wanted to make sure that you all know that we have a monthly virtual connection hour with the public image team. So it's the fourth Monday of each month at 4:30, and I will show you now where you can find that link. I've got to get it so I can see my screen. All right. So this is the Rotary Zone 725B and 29 website, and this is the homepage. So if you go to the homepage and just scroll down, there's upcoming events. All right, if you're on that page, if you scroll down, there is on the right side there's upcoming events. That's where I don't know if the monthly membership have been talked about, but there's also the public image connection here. If you click on that, that will open the page that gives you the Zoom information. And again, that's the fourth Monday of each month at 4:30. And sometimes there's a program, a planned program for about half of that. And then there's time to connect, talk about challenges that you might be having, questions you might have about your club and public image. So the other thing that Patrick wanted me to make sure that we covered is the resources that we have. So I'm just going to go over to the drop down at the top. There's the public image drop down. I clicked on public image team. Again, that's where you can find out who's all on the team. If you scroll down on that page, everybody's email address is there except mine. I guess they forgot to put it there when they updated it, so it's all right. It'll get there. If anybody wants my email address, Gretchen can, or somebody can pop it in the chat, but you can reach out to any of us anytime. And there is, again, a vast amount of talent in that group. And if they don't know the answer to something, I know from experience, we will find the answer. So then at the top of this page, there's also this public image resource library, and that was also in the drop-down menu if you looked up there. I'm going to click on that and run through a few things there so that you know what's available to you. And this is an ever-expanding page and changing and added to and shifting around. So if there is something that you're looking for that you are interested in learning about or finding out more information on that you think fits into the public image, ask us and we will work on that. So don't be afraid to, or make suggestions. If you know something, there's a vast world out there of stuff that we're still learning about. So on this page, we have a link to our Facebook page, which is super important. So go to that and like us and follow that. And there are links to the training decks from other trainings or learning seminars that have been done. There's a public image audit workshop there that's talking about making sure that your website and social media and everything that you're doing is brand compliant and kind of following best practices for public image. So if you're interested in that, that's a webinar that we did a while back. And then I know there's talk about the Rotary Brand Center. There's a link to that. That's where you can make your club Rotary branded club logos and do lockups for special events. And then there's the do's and don'ts of Rotary logos, lots of logos information. And then a whole lot of really cool tools. So as you're getting ready to enter your new year, click on this new year checklist because that will show you some things to look at from a public image. Just be thinking about updating some stuff that changes each year. There's a storytelling guide, talking points like that we ran through a little bit ago. If you're setting up an event, there's help on doing that. There is I mentioned getting a public image chair. There's a job description for that. And then there are Canva templates, there's news release templates, there's the PowerPoint. I think I saw in the chat somebody was wondering about the Zoom background. There's Zoom backgrounds on here. There's the People of Action program. So play around in this. There is a ton of information, and again, it's ever expanding. So if anybody has ideas on things that should be added, we are happy to expand on that as well. That was kind of short and sweet, but if anybody has any questions, or I'd be happy to entertain.